Hello everybody. As you all know, SBI has come out with its clerk notifications. Over 13,700 new posts have been announced. For those of you who aspire for a clerical position in SBI, this is the opportunity you all have been waiting for, right? So I'm sure you all must be in a state of excitement, but also a little bit of anxiety about how to go about your preparation, how to implement the best strategy in the exam, etc. A little bit of anxiety is always good as long as you channelize it in the right direction. So here we are to help you along with some tips and tricks to crack the exam. Today we are going to focus on the English language section. Okay. Broadly, we will be discussing the topics or the overall syllabus, the types of questions you can expect based on the previous exams, and we will share some tips and suggest a broad strategy that can help you handle this section. Okay, so let us get an overview of the English section first. As you know, in the SBI exam, in the clerk exam, you have sectional time limits, right? So in the prelims exam, let's look at the prelims exam first. You have 30 questions in the English language section. You have 1 mark per question and 0.25 marks are deducted for every wrong answer. These are things you all know already. The duration of the English language section is 20 minutes. Okay, so you get less than 1 minute per question. And in the mains exam, you have 40 questions, you have 40 marks of course, and 35 minutes for the English language section. Now, we move on to the topics or the syllabus of the exam. The syllabus of the exam has remained more or less the same over the years. There are slight variations. However, the gamut of topics that appear in the exam is more or less the same. Okay, there are slight differences in presentation of questions every year, but the broad types of questions that appear are more or less the same. Every now and then the authorities do introduce some new question type. Okay, so the question types that typically appear in both prelims and mains are as follows. After this, I will discuss the slight variations in presentation in the prelims and mains exam. Okay, reading comprehension, as you know, is a staple feature in both prelims and mains exams. Reading comprehension, there are different patterns that appear, but yes, this is a staple feature. Then there is the close test. All of you who have been preparing for bank exams know what the close test is, right? If anybody is confused, then let me quickly introduce this concept to you. Close test is a combination of fill in the blanks and reading comprehension. Okay, so you have a short passage that is given to you and then there are blanks. This is the basic format of close test. So you need a grip over reading and you also need to have vocabulary. Then there is para jumbles or para formation. Para formation is the question type where a few sentences are given to you in random order and you have to unscramble them and find the right order of the sentences. Para jumble is a test of, yes, your reading ability and comprehension, but moreover it is a test of your logical reasoning. Okay, because when you form a paragraph, You can form a paragraph in any order. The person who is listening to you or who is reading what you have written will more or less be able to grasp the idea. But then, unless your communication is logical, it is not going to convey the right meaning. So, para jumbles. Then there is sentence rearrangement. Okay, sentence rearrangement, we can call it a little cousin of para jumbles. Instead of rearranging the paragraph, here you are rearranging a sentence. A sentence is broken into parts and you have to rearrange the sentence itself. Then you have fill in the blanks. Fill in the blanks can appear in various presentations. We will discuss that. Okay, you may have a word missing, you may have a phrase missing, you may have multiple blanks in the same question, etc. Then in bank exams, you have this match the column pattern. That is, you have 2 or 3 columns given to you and you have to match them. Okay, so typically this is a form of sentence formation. You are given parts of a sentence and you have to match them. But there are other possibilities also. Then there is word usage. You are expected to identify the appropriate or inappropriate usage of words. Then there is word interchange, where in a sentence words may be jumbled up. Okay, some words are highlighted and they are all mixed up, jumbled up. You have to put the right words in the right position. You have wrongly spelt words. It has not been appearing very often now, but once in a while, yes. You have to identify the wrongly spelt word or the correctly spelt word. So this tests your knowledge of vocabulary and spelling. Then error identification. Error identification is again a very, very common pattern in all clerk exams. Okay, there are different presentations of error spotting, and another common pattern is phrase replacement, where there is an erroneous phrase given in a sentence and you are asked to replace it with the correct version. Okay, so these are the most common topics that have been appearing year after year in both prelims and mains. Apart from this, there are a few question types that usually appear in mains alone. Okay, so this is synonyms and antonyms, direct synonym and antonyms questions. These can appear in your reading comprehension also, or these are asked as separate questions. Then word replacement. Okay, so here we spoke of word usage and word interchange. Word replacement is also another variation of this, where a particular word is given and you have to substitute it with the right word. Then error spotting we saw here is a very common pattern, but in mains sometimes they ask you to spot the error. That is one part of the question, and then you have to rearrange the sentence also. The sentence is given in jumbled format and there are some errors in it. And there is another question type that has been appearing of late in the mains exam. This is what we call the theme-based questions. Theme-based questions is where they give you a sentence that depicts a theme. Let us say, honesty is the best policy. I'm just taking a very simple example. Okay, so that is, let us imagine that is the theme. And then you are given a few passages below that. Okay, typically 3 passages. You have to identify which of these passages accurately reflects the given theme. Okay, so this involves multiple skills. It involves reading comprehension, it involves logical reasoning, it also involves critical thinking or critical reasoning. Okay. Now, let us delve into a little more detail regarding the actual patterns that have been appearing. We spoke of the various question types. So now in each question type, let us look at the actual patterns that have been appearing over the years in prelims exams and mains exams. But before I get into this, I want to highlight one thing. This is something that we have been trying to highlight over and over again. Dear students, do not panic if you see a new presentation of a particular question type. See, vocabulary is vocabulary. Reading comprehension is reading comprehension. The basic skill is the same. As aspiring professionals, you need to have the presence of mind to handle a slightly different situation every time. That is it, right? The actual presentation doesn't matter if your concepts are strong. See, in fill in the blanks, you may be used to one blank questions. What if there are three blanks? Nothing is going to change drastically, right? Similarly, in reading comprehension, if they introduce some new question type, it is okay as long as you know to read properly, as long as you know to comprehend, as long as your comprehension is good, as long as your reading speed is good, the pattern does not matter. Now, having said that, I must also emphasize one thing: practice makes perfect, because there is a problem of time limit, right? So while we may tell you that the exact question pattern does not matter, it is also very, very important for you to look at the previous patterns, get familiar with all the patterns, and practice as many questions as you can. Because then even if you get a variation on this pattern, you have enough practice and you will know how to handle a new presentation. Okay, if you are not at all familiar with these question types, then suddenly you see something, you will take some time to figure out how to handle this. You will have to develop your approach on that spot, and that is not good strategy. So keep practicing as many different patterns as you can. That is all you need. Okay, now let us quickly look at the different patterns that have been appearing over the years in both the prelims and mains exams. We are hoping that all of you will work really hard and make it to the mains stage. So, reading comprehension. This is a staple feature, as you know. Whichever exam you look at, reading comprehension is a staple feature, because comprehension is probably the most important skill in any profession, right? If you do not understand the information that is given to you, there is no way you can succeed in that profession. And we are living in an increasingly knowledge-driven, data-driven world. So there is no end if you start discussing the importance of comprehension. Okay, now in the prelims exams, the patterns that we have been witnessing are the traditional model. Traditional model is you're given a passage, you are given a few questions. In the bank exams, you know, they are all objective type questions with 5 options. Okay, so in reading comprehension, the questions may be either direct questions based on some detail given in the passage, okay, detail based questions, or you may get inference based questions. That is what appears in the traditional model. Now when you look at the second model that we have mentioned here, let me show you. That is where we have reading comprehension plus vocabulary plus fill in the blanks. Okay, so this is a model where you get a slightly longer passage, and apart from the traditional reading comprehension questions, there will be normal reading comprehension, inference and detail based questions. Apart from this, you will have some vocabulary questions. Okay, so in this pattern, certain words may be highlighted in the passage. They may be given in bold, and you may be asked to either provide a synonym or an antonym of that word. And there may be fill in the blanks questions also. So while reading the passage, you will see some blanks with a number there. That number is the number of that question. Okay, so you may see, okay, a blank with 27 written there, which means that the 27th question will ask you to fill in something. Fill in a word or complete that sentence. Okay, the blank may have a part of the sentence missing. So all this has been appearing in reading comprehension. Please look at the previous question types that we have been giving you for practice. Please practice these question types so that you understand exactly what we are talking about. And in the mains exams also, typically we have been seeing a pattern where you have a longish passage with RC questions, traditional reading comprehension questions, as well as vocabulary based questions. Now, when it comes to cloze test, I told you what the cloze test is, right? Cloze test is where you have a passage and you have blanks in it, okay? Typically, the blanks are missing words. Now, in the prelims, what we get is you have multiple blanks in a passage, let's say 5 or 6 blanks, and for each blank, you have 5 options, 5 words to choose from. Now, in mains, you may get this traditional model also, but there is a slightly different model where for each blank, you have 3 suggestions in brackets, okay, and then for each blank you have 5 different options. Yeah, that is, as I said, once you know the basic concept, the exact presentation does not matter. These bank exams do introduce different presentations every now and then, but you should just go with the basic question type. Cloze test is cloze test. That's it. Now, one tip I want to share at this point is, in cloze test, a mistake many students make is they look at each blank and let us say it is this pattern, okay, 5 options for each blank. So what they do is, of course there is a time constraint, everyone is rushing. So what typically students do is, okay, blank 1, what are the options given? These are the options. You take one option and you put it there. Now, this works in a typical fill in the blanks exercise, but remember, this is not your typical fill in the blank, right? In cloze test, overall logical coherence of the para is extremely important. So what I mean is, multiple words may have the potential to fit into a particular blank. Okay, what you have to do is you have to quickly scan through the entire para, get an idea of what the para is talking about, and then you start attempting the or start filling up the blanks. Okay, fine. Now, fill in the blanks. In fill in the blanks, you may get in both prelims and mains. Typically, what you get is one sentence and you have one blank or 2 blanks, okay, with options. For fill in the blanks, what you need is vocabulary. Sometimes fill in the blanks can spill over into grammar. When they ask you to fill in the blanks with the right phrase, then you have to understand the grammatical construction of the sentence. Speaking of grammar, we have the next type, that is error identification. This is a test of your grammar concepts, okay, application of grammar concepts in communication, that is error identification. So typically in the prelims exam, you will be given a sentence that is divided into multiple parts and you have to pick the part with the error. If there are no errors, sometimes there is an option for no error. Also, when it comes to mains, apart from this pattern, there is also the possibility of a pattern where you have multiple errors. Now we go to sentence reordering. Sentence reordering, we spoke about this earlier. This is where a sentence is jumbled up, okay, just like para formation, which is more common, you're all used to it. Just like that, here instead of multiple sentences, you are given multiple segments of a sentence. You have to unscramble these segments to form one sentence. So in prelims and mains exams, what has been traditionally appearing is you get 5 jumbled parts, okay, and then you are given options. So C, B, D, A, E or A, C, D, E, B, like that. You have to pick the right option. Fine. Then you have para formation. This is a one question type which most of you have been doing from school onwards. In bank, the peculiarity of para formation questions in bank exams is that very often there are questions on positions. Okay, this is what makes it scoring once you crack the order. You may think, oh, to unscramble this, it is so difficult. But the thing is, there are 5 sentences given to you and there may be multiple questions, 5 questions typically when there are 5 sentences, or maybe up to 6 questions if there are 6 sentences, okay. You are given questions on positions. That is, rather than ask you what is the correct order, they may ask you which sentence comes in the 3rd position, which sentence comes in the 2nd position, etc. For each question, remember, you will get 1 mark. But of course, you have to get the basic order right. If not, the entire section will go, right? But another trick is there, okay. Very often students have this problem. They say, see, we are able to get the introduction and the conclusion. Like, let us say there are 5 sentences A, B, C, D, E. We know it is B first and D last. Our problem is it B, A, B, A, C, E, D or B, A, E, C, D. When this is the situation, out of the 5 sentences, you are very sure of 3 sentences. You can boldly go and attempt those questions, right? So this is why para formation is not a section you should be scared of. I'm saying this because many students say, oh, it's so time consuming, but you should give it a shot. At least a few questions, if you are able to crack in this section, you will see your score go up, right? Okay. Now, when it comes to mains, you may be given 5 or 6 sentences, okay, with questions on positions. That is one pattern. Another pattern is where 5 or 6 sentences are given, but 1 sentence is fixed. Let us say sentence C is fixed. They give you 6 sentences and say sentence C is fixed. That means you know that C is the 3rd sentence. You only need to unscramble the remaining sentences. Another pattern is you have the same 6 sentences and you have, apart from unscrambling, you may be asked some vocabulary questions. Again, as I told you, vocabulary is vocabulary, whether it appears in para formation or in reading comprehension, that really should not matter, okay. Then there is this very well-known question type called word interchange. Word interchange is where in a sentence, a few words, typically 4 words in the prelims exams, up to 6 words in the mains exams, they are given to you. And some of these words are in the wrong place and you have to interchange them. Okay, so in a sentence, let us say the first and the 3rd words may be in the wrong positions, and if you swap them, if you bring the 3rd word to the 1st position and 1st word to the 3rd position, then the sentence becomes meaningful. So they will give you the interchange options, that is A and C, which means A needs to go to C, the C's position, and C needs to come to A's position. They'll give you multiple options. Okay, that is word interchange. Again, please go and practice all the practice questions and mock tests that we have been giving you, so that on the actual day of the exam, on the D-Day, you are well prepared. Then there is word usage, hardcore vocabulary question. In the prelims exam, a typical pattern we have been seeing is you have 3 sentences given to you where the same word is used, okay? And in one of them, the word may be used inappropriately. You have to identify that sentence. Or the word may be used appropriately only in one sentence. You have to identify that sentence, okay? Here in mains, you may get the traditional pattern with 3 usages. You may also get 5 usages. That is, 5 different sentences are given to you, and one word may be highlighted in each sentence. You may, or nothing may be highlighted also. You have to identify the sentence which uses the highlighted word accurately, or you have to identify the sentence which does not have any error of usage. Okay, so see, again, basically it is a vocabulary question. Only thing is, when you are given 5 sentences and if nothing is highlighted, then you have to read the whole sentence. Each of the 5 sentences you have to read carefully, word by word. So that can be a little time consuming. And then there is the famous match the column question type, which typically appears in the prelims exam but also in mains now and then. So you are given 2 columns typically, where you have parts of sentences and you have to match them. So when you match the 2 parts, you get a complete sentence. We have also seen some match the following question types where a sentence is given and then the tone is given in the second column. So each sentence you have to match with the right tone. Okay. In mains, we see match the column patterns with 3 columns where 1 column has connectors. Okay, so you need to match the remaining 2 parts, or you need to join the remaining 2 parts with the right connector from this connector column. Okay, again it is a test of your grammatical soundness. How sound is your grammar? So once you know how to form a sentence correctly, this question type is taken care of. Okay. Now a quick look at the distribution of questions over the years. Typically, what can you expect? Please note that the actual patterns and actual number of questions can vary from year to year. Okay. In reading comprehension, in the prelims exam, you can expect 7 to 10 questions. In the mains exams, it has gone up to 15. Close test. In prelims exams, usually you always have close test. The number of blanks may vary from 5 to 7. In the mains exams, what we mean by 0 to 6 is it's also based on the slots. Okay, some slots may not have any, some slots may have up to 6 questions, some years may not have any, some years there may be up to 6 questions. Okay, in para formation, again you may get 4 to 5 questions in each of these, in prelims and in mains. Sentence rearrangement, in prelims you can expect up to 5 questions. In mains exams you can expect maybe 2 questions. Fill in the blanks, you can expect 5 questions. Again, you can expect does not mean it will definitely be this. Okay, this is just to give you an overview. Match the column also, there may be up to 5 questions. Synonyms and antonyms and word replacement, we told you, are features of the mains exams. That does not again mean it will not appear in the prelims exam ever. Okay, these should give you some hint of what may occur anywhere, anytime. Here, up to 4 synonyms and antonyms questions and up to 2 word replacement questions. Word usage. up to 5 questions here. 2 to 5 questions typically occur in the mains exam. Up to 5 questions of word interchange in the prelims exams. Up to 7 in the mains exams. Spelling questions when they occur in some exams in the past, up to 5 wrongly spelt words have been given in the prelims exams. In the mains, it is not very common, but 1 or 2 questions have appeared. Error identification in prelims, you can definitely expect 5 to 6 questions. In mains also, up to 4 questions you can expect. Phrase replacement also definitely in prelims you get 3 to 5 questions. Again, in the past, based on past trends. And in mains exams, you can expect maybe up to 4 questions. Error identification plus sentence rearrangement. We mentioned this earlier. This is a pattern which occurs only in main or has been occurring only in main so far. Up to 3 questions have been asked in the past, and theme-based questions, only one or theme-based question has appeared in the past. As we mentioned earlier, it is a time-consuming question. You have to read the theme and then read 3 different short passages. So only one such question has appeared. Okay. So if we look at the past trends, the question types that are important for both prelims and mains are RC, paraformation, fill in the blanks, close test, and grammar, of course, error identification. For prelims, what you get typically are match the column with 2 columns, word usage, word interchange, and sentence rearrangement. That doesn't mean that you should not look at it at all for the mains exams, okay? Anything can come anywhere, so you have to be prepared. Now, the questions that have been appearing for mains alone, we mentioned this earlier. Synonyms and antonyms, word replacement, theme-based question, and error identification, error spotting with multiple errors. Even if these patterns appear in the prelims exams, you can expect a lower difficulty level. Okay. Now, how do you prepare? The first thing is, dear students, take a deep breath and relax. Many students feel, oh no, we cannot handle English section. See, this is not a test of your English speaking. This is not a test of your pronunciation. This is not a test of your fluency, thankfully. While these are all aspects you will need later as a professional and you will build on these aspects later, these are the aspects we are all scared of, right? As non-native speakers of English, we are often scared to speak or write. But in this particular exam, what you are being tested on is your grip over the basic concepts. And who has not studied English ever in their lives? Nobody in this country. Some may start early, some may start late. The level to which you are confident may vary, but the basic grammar concepts, basic vocabulary, basic reading, all of you have done. So take a deep breath and tell yourself there are several question types you will be able to handle confidently. That is a must. Okay, you need to promise us that you will approach this exam with confidence. So that is the first item in our list. After this, let us look at what else you can do. See, one thing I need to tell you, when we suggest this approach here, it is only a suggestion. Strengths and weaknesses are different for different students, especially in the verbal ability section, in the English language section, right? Some students may be extremely comfortable with vocabulary, not so comfortable with grammar, or vice versa. Some students may be scared of reading. Some students may be avid readers, but they are a little scared of grammar. So, we can only give you a strategy that seems to work for a good majority of students. But you need to practice in order to recognize your own unique strengths and weaknesses. If your strengths and weaknesses demand a strategy that is different from what I'm going to discuss today, please go with what works for you. Okay, you are the boss of your strategy. This is just a broad suggestion. You may want to start with the close passage because at one shot you are getting 5 to 7 marks. Right, so yes, there is a passage to read, but it is always a short passage. Nothing like reading comprehension. It is much shorter than reading comprehension. Okay, so the right strategy may be to start with, to identify the close passage. If you have a close question in the exam, quickly scan the paper to see if you have a close question. If you have the close question, scan the passage quickly. Do not start attempting the blanks right away. Scan the passage quickly, understand the central idea of the passage, and then start filling in the blanks. At one shot, you will get multiple marks. Okay, and there, if one odd blank, if you are not sure, you're not going to lose marks for leaving that blank there, right? So it is okay if you don't know one blank in between, leave it. Don't take a blind guess and lose marks there. Okay, so that also is something that I want to highlight for all the question types. Don't guess blindly because you have negative marks. Okay, then after doing the cloze test, you may want to look at the fill in the blanks questions next, because it is only one sentence, and if you know the word that will fit in there, it is much quicker to do than many of the other question types, right? So we are telling you questions where you can spot the answer at one glance. Okay, after that, when we tell you that you may want to look at RC next, reading comprehension, you may say, no, I don't want to touch RC. The good thing with RC is once you quickly read through the passage and understand the passage, you will definitely have a few easy questions, and you may have vocabulary based questions also. What is stopping you from answering the vocabulary based questions? These are normally very easy to understand, but don't make the mistake of looking for the vocabulary questions and saying, I don't need to read the passage, it is just synonym or antonym. No, these are always contextual. You will need to pick the synonym or antonym based on the exact context. Remember that. Okay. Then after that, you may want to start attempting the questions which take time. Okay, error identification, grammar. Now, if you are very strong in grammar, then error identification also can be done very fast. Word usage, where you have to identify the wrongly used word, so you will have to read multiple sentences. Word interchange, you have to read the sentence, figure out the meaning. Okay. Then match the column. Again, if your grammar is perfect, match the column can be done like this. Okay. Word replacement, all these question types you can attempt next. After that, you may want to look at the sentence rearrangement questions first, and then the para formation. Para formation takes time. However, if your overall speed is good and you manage to reach this stage, if there are questions on positions, typically there are questions on positions, you can score like this. And theme of the passage, unless you are an extremely confident reader, you may want to attempt it last, because you have to read all the three passages and then connect it to the theme. Accuracy may be an issue if you're not good at understanding the central idea of passages. But those of you who are avid readers, those who like to read, or those who are very good at critical reasoning, please do this question type earlier on. Okay, it is a good question for avid readers. That is it. Then when it comes to preparation tips, in the English language section, if there is one panacea or one medicine for all question types, that is reading. You will say all English teachers say the same thing. Well, that is because all doctors will tell you the same thing if you go to the doctor for a particular illness, let us say a headache, almost all doctors will give you the same paracetamol. Similarly, for the English section, reading is the one thing that can help you. Now you may say you're not in the habit of reading. It is okay. Start now. You anyway have to read the newspaper. As a banking professional, what will you do without reading? You anyway have to read the newspaper. Start now. I'm not saying you should start reading Shakespeare and Charles Dickens now, right? Just read the newspaper, read some current affairs magazines. If you like to read fiction, read some simple fiction. All this will help you in almost every question type. Okay. Vocabulary is something which you need to focus on. It will help you with cloze test. It will help you with fill in the blanks. It will help you with reading comprehension. Focus on improving your vocabulary. Look for new words in everything you read, in everything you hear. When you travel in a bus, if you see a board and it has a new word, new English word, maybe look up on your phone immediately. What does this word mean? Right? So new words come to you everywhere. You just have to be curious enough to find their meanings. When you learn a new word, make a note in a notebook and then revise it from time to time. These are all tips that can help you. Okay, learn new words but also understand the usage. It is not enough if you just mug up the meanings of words. You have to understand where exactly what word is used. Okay, and then you practice this knowledge of vocabulary in question types. Okay. For reading comprehension, of course, like I said earlier, read, yes, but not just blindly read. Be aware of the time you are taking. Be also aware of whether you are grasping the central idea or not. Okay, you know that in reading comprehension, it is not good strategy to look at the questions without reading the passage. That may work in second standard, third standard, not in higher level exams. You need to skim through the entire passage and then only attempt the questions. You need to balance your speed and accuracy, which means that when you read the passage, it is important to grasp the central idea, but you may not want to waste too much time trying to mug up the details. Because when you answer individual questions, if there are questions based on certain details, you just need to know, this is in the second para. You can go back and check. That way, you will manage your speed efficiently. You will also maximize your accuracy. Okay. Try to read passages that are based on economics, banking, current affairs, etc. because these are the kind of passages that you can expect. This will also help you in your professional life later on. When it comes to grammar, again we go back to the same thing. For every question type, we loop back to what? To reading. Okay. So for grammar also, learning the rules by heart alone will not help. You need to understand the application. For that, you must be familiar with sentence construction. Apart from reading, listening can also help. Okay. So you may want to watch shows on BBC or other channels. You may want to even watch movies, not to waste your time watching lots and lots of movies, but once in a while you may want to watch English movies or other documentaries so that you can understand sentence structure and of course get familiar with the question types by practicing. Okay. So that is it, dear students. I hope you found this session useful, and of course if you want to enroll for coaching, we are the test prep experts, so contact your nearest time center for classroom coaching. If you want to enroll for online courses, here is the link. Keep watching our channel for more such useful videos. Thank you.